in the presence of a lowered MAO threshold, and how this was discovered by Amazonian Indians millennia ago and not discovered by Western science till 1956 or something is just one of those peculiar facts about ethnobotany and ethnomedicine. But it's certainly true that you have a much more dramatic effect with the two in combination. How many of these kinds of facts of folk science are out there to be discovered, we don't really know yet, but slowly it's all being unraveled. It's never been explained, why there are so many plant psychedelics in the New World. The jojoba snuffs, the ayahuasca, the mushrooms in the New World, Salvia divinorum, all of the things are New World, and this has been a social phenomenon, the exploration of which has been pretty much pushed by New World anthropologists and philosophers. If we'd had to depend on European philosophy for the content of the century, we'd all be reading Jacques Derrida and those kind of people. So it's a local phenomenon that's become global. The way we value the earth, the way we value commodities, the way we extract them and manufacture them into saleable goods, this will all be seen in a different way, I think. And again, it's an issue of capital and labor and how you value what you put your life into and that sort of thing. Well, what the shamans know that we don't is which plants, how, and where. And it took a long time to figure this out. They didn't invent the calculus. They didn't, sailing vessels of great speed and power. None of that was pursued. What was pursued was these vegetable entities that can be coaxed out of the plant world. And the irony is that Europe, who set out, in the 17th century to explore the world, to bring it Christian civilization, may have encountered phenomena and variants on civilization that will ultimately prove more powerful than what we were peddling. This discussion is by no means closed at this point. I thought I knew a lot about psychedelics before I encountered DMT, and it showed me that I knew virtually nothing. This is Salvia divinorum.
Oh yeah, this is a great shot.
Full flower.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you rarely see it so dramatically in flower.
What's this one?
Yeah.
Salvia divinorum, yeah.
And what
Purple flowers.
what are the effects of these? What part do you use?
You use
The
the
leaf.
leaf, and it has a compound called alpha-salvinorin in it, and it's very easily grown in the right soil.
Roll up 80 leaves and chew them.
Yeah.
And
You just chew it.
Chew it.
Uh-huh. And what's
And
the
eat it,
effect?
and eat it as you're. That's
Oh,
how
yeah.
the Mazatecs do it.
Oh, mother. And what's the effect of it?
Very
Hallucinogenic,
strange,
psychedelic.
very hard to describe, but
Psychedelic.
not really understood or known until 10 years ago or so.
See the salvia all through here.
Uh-huh. And what's the legal status of that?
It's
It's
legal.
completely legal, amazingly enough. Well, let's see. This is ayahuasca. That's why it was called Banisteriopsis, because the leaves are opposed to each other like the rungs of a ladder. And it winds up into this.
I've got some pieces back at the house.
Oh yeah, you can show. Now here, this vine going up so high,
Oh, yeah.
that's ayahuasca. Well, I think the shaman offers an immense example of courage. The shaman is not afraid of things which modern, postmodern people are afraid of, specifically madness, a kind of madness. People are afraid of drugs because they associate it with some kind of ultimate unhingement. As we gain shamans who can speak to us in our own vocabulary, this will fade away. This is, to some degree, the motivation for my career, is basically to say, to give people permission, to say, it's safe, it's scary, it's weird, but you're not going to end up in a straitjacket in some back ward. You'll live through this. It's no more terrifying than the world's largest roller coaster or one of those places. So permission is what I find people want from me. They want me to say, yes, I did it. It was very scary. I lived to tell the tale. That was an experience which I'll never forget. Showed you there were more rabbits in the field than you thought, right?
It's one way I've been wondering how to explain it. I mean, I know it's nearly beyond explanation, but for you, what happens for you when you smoke DMT?
I go to a place where language finds it very hard to pull over and look around. It's almost as though it takes you to a world that is not Englishable, and I suppose Germanable and so forth. But as a native speaker of English, that's what it looks to me like is happening. That the vehicle of language can only...
Breaks down.
Yeah, it breaks down, and no matter how you try and claw the air, it doesn't quite come over and give itself to you. So that's fascinating to me as a writer and a storyteller and someone with an interest in narrative and all that. The idea that there would be realities that you couldn't wrap a description around is fascinating, and it grows more fascinating as life moves along. It seems like a miracle, you know, an absolute miracle of some strange sort in the area of cognitive construction is taking place.
How can someone benefit from that experience?
Well, some philosophers would say such a thing is impossible. There aren't unspeakable realities. Somebody else would say, well, it's this or it's that. So it sheds light on certain questions of philosophy and heuristics and all that seems to me that it gives real answers. I mean, maybe